What if I told you there's an ancient formula, a sacred hymn, that some people believe can solve very modern problems, like finding a job? It sounds like something straight out of a movie, right? But it's a real claim tied to an incredibly powerful text. So let's dive in and unpack the story behind the Lalita Sahasranama.
So let's start right there with that huge claim. Could a series of ancient names, chanted in Sanskrit, really act as a formula for your life? And this is where our story really kicks off, with this simple but honestly pretty profound statement from a person named Bimal on a blog. After 2 whole years without an income, they start chanting this hymn every single day, and their financial problems were solved. This is what's so compelling, you know? It brings this high-level spiritual idea right down to earth, into a struggle that so many of us can relate to. And that brings us to the big question for our explainer today. Is this just a coincidence? The placebo effect, maybe? Or is there something more going on with this ancient text? To figure that out, we gotta go back to the source. So, to really understand the power that my mall might have tapped into, we need to peel back the layers of this hymn and find out what it actually is and, where in the world it came from. So, the first thing to know is that this is a foundational scripture. It's not just some standalone poem, it's part of a much larger work called the Brahmanda Purana. And the name, Lalita Sahasranama, literally means the 1,000 names of Lalita. Every single name is a description of the divine, a different facet of her being. And that gets right to the heart of this tradition. This isn't just any text. It's a cornerstone for a specific spiritual path in Hinduism called Shaktism. And this path focuses on worshiping the divine as the supreme mother, the ultimate creative power of the entire universe.
Now, according to the text itself, these 1,000 names weren't just, written by some person. They were a divine revelation. The story goes that a wise sage named Agastya asked the god Hayagriva to share this amazing knowledge. And Hayagriva agreed, but only because Agastya's devotion was so pure. He was revealing what he called a powerful secret. Now, this hymn isn't just a list of names. Oh no. It's wrapped up in this dramatic, epic, cosmic story of good versus evil, of chaos versus order. So, the whole epic kicks off with a bang. Manmatha, who's the god of love, tries to shoot his arrow of desire at the god Shiva, who's deep in meditation. This was a very bad move. Shiva, totally disturbed, opens his third eye and just poof, he instantly incinerates Manmatha, leaving nothing but a pile of ash. But from that very act of destruction, something new and absolutely terrible is created. One of Shiva's attendants gathers up the ash and makes a little figure out of it. When Shiva just glances at it, that figure springs to life as the demon Banda. And Banda is a cosmic-level threat. He gains immense power and starts to oppress all the gods, throwing the entire universe into total chaos. The gods, they're completely outmatched. They have no idea what to do. So in their desperation, they turn to the ultimate source of power. They perform this massive sacred fire ritual, a huge sacrifice, and they call out to the one power they believe can save them, Parashakti, the supreme energy of the cosmos. And from that sacrificial fire, she appears. The magnificent goddess Lalita emerges, just radiant and unbelievably powerful. It's said she embodies the combined spirit of the 3 great gods, Brahma the creator, Vishnu the preserver, and Shiva the destroyer. And she promises the gods that she will defeat their enemy. What happens next is this colossal battle. For 4 straight days, the goddess and her armies are at war with Banda and his forces. And in the end, of course, Lalita is victorious. She completely destroys Banda and his entire capital city and brings balance and order back to the universe. And this incredible story is the backdrop for the 1,000 names that celebrate her. So why is this story and this idea of a divine feminine power so central to everything? Let's take a look at the philosophy behind it. This brings us to a really fascinating contrast in thinking. While many traditions, like these Semitic religions, often think of God as a father, a creator, maybe a judge, Shakta theology offers a totally different perspective. Here, the divine is approached as a mother. And this isn't just a small difference, it reframes the whole relationship. It shifts the dynamic from, say, distant authority to one of closeness, compassion, and unconditional love. It's said to appeal more directly to the heart. The key concept here, the absolute core of it all, is Sakshti.
Sakshi isn't just a goddess. It is the active, dynamic energy of existence itself. It's the power that makes everything happen, from galaxy spinning to your own heart beating. Lalita is the personification of this ultimate power.
And that leads to the core philosophy. If Shakti is all that dynamic energy, then Shiva represents the static, pure consciousness, the ground of all being, sometimes called Brahman. But here's the crucial part. They aren't two separate things. They are two aspects of one single reality. The source text uses this beautiful analogy to explain it. They're as inseparable as the sun and its sunshine. You just can't have one without the other.
So how does all of this, the myth, the philosophy, circle back to our original question? What does the text itself actually promise to people who recite it? Well, the text has a whole section called the Phalashruti, which is literally the list of fruits or benefits you get from chanting. And the list is, well, it's pretty extensive. It ranges from spiritual things like cleansing of sins to very tangible real-world benefits like curing illnesses, gaining prosperity, which connects right back to Bimal's story, and even improving your creative talents.
So you might be wondering, why include all this material stuff? The commentary in our source text explains it really nicely. These worldly promises act as a kind of hook. They're designed to attract people who are maybe more focused on their material well-being, and they draw them onto a path of devotion that they might not have considered otherwise. But for those who aren't looking for worldly things, who are chanting just for the sake of pure devotion, the hymn offers the ultimate prize. It promises the highest spiritual knowledge, a direct experience of Brahman, of ultimate reality, and with that, liberation from samsara, that endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth.
And this brings us right to our final, thought-provoking question, one that's actually posed by the editors of our source text. When someone has a profound experience like Bimal did, where does that power really come from? Is it something inherent in the sacred words of the hymn itself, or is it unlocked by the chanter's own focused, unwavering faith and devotion? The text kind of leaves that for us to ponder.